Okay, are we good on all ends?
I think we're in.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope everyone's doing good and feeling good and staying safe and healthy. My name is Brianna Mitchell, and I am your host today. I'm a teaching artist with the Polite Society Jazz community, and it is my honor to be your lovely host this morning. So before we get started with our second annual Polite Society Jazz Community Awards, again, thank you so much for being here with us. We want to honor a couple of people that we just love dearly, and we're just so glad that they're able to be a part of our community with us. So before we get started, Miss Bev, could you please bless us with a prayer?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. You bow your head. Most gracious Father, today we gather not to give eulogy, but to celebrate continued life service. As we honor ones with compassion towards the weak and oppressed, the less fortunate for whom we are all called. We are thankful for family and friends who have gathered to celebrate with us as we honor our Godmother and Godfathers, the ones who have committed their lives to service. We ask your blessings upon each and every one who are present and those who will present today. We thank you for our visionary and our CEO and Executive Director, Philip Mitchell, the Board of Directors for Polite Society, the staff, the teaching artists, and all of those who work so diligently and have dedicated their lives to underserved, underprivileged families. We're thankful for all who are fighting bravely for those unpopular causes and who are working diligently for the least of these throughout the world. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome, awesome, beautiful. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Teresa Wagner, and Teresa is the president of Polite Society Jazz.
Good morning,
Teresa,
everyone.
Perfect.
Good morning. We're here today to recognize two individuals from our community who have changed the lives of thousands of people, Dr. Belinda Bisco and Mr. Gerald Jones. Their support has made it possible for us to provide career-focused arts and technology education programs to Oklahoma students. We also want to say thank you to our board of directors, our nominating committee, our staff, and our teaching artists. One of the most important things that Polite Society Jazz does is to add tools to kids' toolboxes. We want to give them those tools that will help them self-correct negative behaviors. One of the tools is the Polite Society Jazz Pledge. I respect myself, I respect others, and I deserve respect. Once a child learns self-respect, they can do anything. I would also like to introduce you to a very special young man who has found his career passion and has now stepped into his role as a leader, Jalen Vinson. He is a 2021 Bombers graduate, Midwest City Bomber grad, and a member of the 4.0 Club. He has performed at Carnegie Hall and is a member of the National Youth Orchestra of the USA. Here is a brief clip of Jalen Vinson in his role as a leader.
Not hearing any sound here. Give us just one moment. All righty, and I think we're gonna start that over. You know, one of the great things about technology is it does make things easier, but sometimes it makes things harder. So
if you go to share screen, you'll see a little icon that says share sound, and you have to click that.
Give me just a second. I'm going to share mine. What you've got there.
Using your time and resources can really show your marks of being a positive and effective leader. Let's recap. 1. To lead others, you must first start leading yourself. This can be displayed through self-discipline. 2. 90% of leadership is attitude. Keep in mind your attitude is contagious. 3. You're measured by what you give rather than what you have. The stripes of an effective leader are those who make themselves visible to those around them. Thank you for joining me for this NYLU mini masterclass on the fundamentals of leading. If you found this video insightful, please like and subscribe for more. I'm Jalen Vinson, and until next time.
Awesome. Okay, and if you're just now joining us, if you could just do us a quick little favor and put yourself on mute, it's going to help us a little bit with that echo and that feedback. All righty, perfect. Beth?
Hey, without a doubt, Jalen seems to be very comfortable in his role as a leader. Good job, Jalen. We are a group of artists and industry professionals who are committed to giving something back to our community. Matthew 25 and 40, we develop outreach programs by working with industry professionals who we call our teaching artists. I would like to introduce some of our teaching artists. We have Latia Washington. Latia is the early childhood education specialist. We have Ty Donato. She's a mixed media artist and teacher and a creator. We have Tiffany Henley, who is our pediatric occupational therapist, and Mitchell, who is our fashion designer entrepreneur. So Latia is going to tell us a little bit about our mission and what we offer. Latia?
Yes, our mission is to preserve Oklahoma jazz history through live performance and utilize the arts as a catalyst to provide career-focused arts and technology education programs to at-risk students. Under normal circumstances, we use the proceeds from our performances to fund our outreach programs. While performance opportunities are not available, we find other ways to help kids in our community because when you're determined to fix a problem, you'll always find a way. We offer 2 types of programs, long-term residencies and 1-hour programs. The Art of Expression is a visual arts program geared toward building communication skills and mental health awareness. Our culinary arts program utilizes decorating cupcakes and cookies as a way to break the ice and explore creativity while identifying culinary career paths. The finance game is a financial literacy and budgeting game that not only helps kids identify where their money goes, but also how much they will need to earn in order to survive. The goal is to identify sustainable career paths. We also have Code and Cath, where students learn to code and diagnose system errors in robots and drones and identify career paths in technology. By providing these career-focused life skills programs, we give at-risk students the tools they need to succeed.
Ty is going to tell us about what we do for our community. Ty?
Good morning. We address hunger in our community because you cannot feed a hungry child. Our partnership with Feed the Children has been invaluable in helping us get food to hungry families. With their support, we have provided over 7,000 meals to hungry families. We promote partnerships throughout our community. Our partnerships with the Oklahoma County Commissioners, the Oklahoma County Commissioner's Office, and the Oklahoma Juvenile Bureau has provided funding for us to help kids in the Juvenile Detention Center, also known as the Berry House. We provided services to the Mecklenburg Center, the Pitt Center, the Boys and Girls Club, as well as serving community organizations in Midwest City, Del City, and in North Tulsa. We've provided hundreds of thousands of hours of on-site programming and community service. We've also requested a line item budget for $100,000 to support the Claire Looper Freedom Center and the Willa D. Johnson Community Center. Thank you.
We tell students in each color what it represents in motion, and we ask them to draw a picture of what they feel. What you're about to see is a video of our occupational therapist, Tiffany Henley, assessing student drawings from one of the programs at the Oklahoma Juvenile Detention Center, better known as the Berry House.
He was in ninth grade at Western Heights. He said the reason why school was a problem is because people thought that they could pick on him and that they could bully him. And it's like he's made some decisions because he felt like it was survival, that they were, you know, not choices that he wanted to make, but he can see who he wants to be, but he's having to make decisions. We talked about what you said about Thanksgiving. I said, you know what? I hate turkey, and I eat it every year at Thanksgiving. I do not like dry turkey, but I actually got it from Deb because she said, you know, that's just what we do. That's what we do. That's what we do on Thanksgiving. Turkey. Right. It makes sense. And he asked, what's going to happen when you go home? He said, well, my family raised me to be like this. My family taught me that I have to do these things. This is just how we are. It's not just friends. It's the people who are around you. And so I think it's really important that we just be more specific about those steps to changing. If you want to change something about yourself, you can. It's a process. I don't get that it's a process. And I think that's why they end up back here because they're like, oh, we don't want to come back. Oh, we don't want to change. And then I can never come back here. But it's because going back into the same environment, right? Not having to like, but there's no fortitude, right? Tools to like actually change their mind and the
Okay, looks like we may have lost some sound towards the end.
like talk to friends or right, even if they're in family, but
Okay.
the mental stress within even what they're saying. Like I think they have talked about. He's been here 7 times. He says I get out of here. With the cousins, yeah. He's like I've been here 7 times. The one with the dread. And he gets to make on Tuesday. And I'm like, you kind of know what you don't need to do. It's like what do you need to do?
But we need to give them enough answers and tools.
He was in ninth grade at Western Heights.
All right, thank you so much. I would like to introduce Reggie Hines. Reggie is our Vice President of Programs. Reggie?
And Reggie, are you unmuted?
Okay. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is and I am the Vice President of Programs. And I had the opportunity to actually see the program, the effects of the program firsthand. I formerly worked at the Oklahoma County Juvenile Detention Center, and one of the young men there has a very violent history, very violent background, and so he started going to some of the programs. And so one day, this young man, he was getting ready to act out, and it was just like a light bulb went off in his head. He asked the officer, he said, will you allow me to go to my cell so I can write in my journal my feelings today? And that was the first time I had saw that young man behave in that manner, because in the past, he would have started assaulting other youth that were there. He would have started tearing things up. But after he had started attending that program, his whole behavior changed. And not only with him, I saw that change in behavior with a lot of the youth that were attending the programs that P-Light were offering them. It just seemed like their whole demeanor changed, that someone was coming in and giving them an opportunity to express themselves through the arts and through music. It just gave them a whole different skill set. And the whole environment just really changed because a lot of the youth knew that if they didn't have good behavior, they couldn't attend the programs. And so it was just something to see when those programs were being offered, just the change in their behavior. And so with that, Bev, I think I'm supposed to introduce Deandre Smith's video, The Importance of Encouragement and a Hand Up.
Yes, sir. And I will say this too, Reggie. This is Philip. As you mentioned, and to be a witness, inside the facility. Remember, this is a prison for kids.
Yes.
Inside there, you saw that the programs that we were offering, not one single note of music was played. We were doing conflict resolution, culinary arts, art of expression. These were opportunities for us to listen to those kids and find out what was on their minds. The arts, visual arts and so forth, became a tool to open the door to that communication. And what we wanted to try to develop first in these programs is something that would put tools in a kid's toolbox to give them that self-correction tool. And you saw that firsthand.
Yes, that young man, for him to say, please allow me to go to my cell so I can write in my journal about my feelings, that was just amazing to see that change in his behavior. And as I said, in the past, he would have reacted in a violent manner. And he had attended, he had been attending those programs which had taught him, hey, instead of reacting violently, why don't you write your feelings or your thoughts down? What is causing you to behave in that manner? And that was just wonderful to see him respond in that manner. And just the other kids, the way they just gravitated to those programs, it was like it was the first time that someone had really came in and was showing them a caring attitude, that they cared about what was going on with them. And I want to put a good plug in for Philip and Bev, that they were driving down from Dallas weekly to do those programs. And so when I found out they were doing that, I said, I want to meet someone who has that much initiative or that much care for those kids to drive all the way from Dallas on a weekly basis. And at that time, in the beginning, they were not getting paid a dime to do that. And that just shows the care that they had for those kids who are sometimes forgotten and don't have a voice or someone just to care about them.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir. And I'll turn it over to Beverly.
How you doing? I'm Deandre Smith. I'm here to share my story with you and let you know that there's a way out. You don't have to be a statistic. You don't have to be what everybody says you're going to be, and you don't have to live up to what they believe you're going to live up to. You can surpass any of that, all of that, if you just set your mind to it. Determination and hard work, it's a hell of a thing, and it'll get you there. I've had to jump through hoops. I've had to jump through obstacles that I didn't think I was going to overcome. But relentlessly, I worked and I was determined to be something different. And I turned out just like that. I'm now sitting in my semi. I am what they call an owner-operator. I own this semi as well as I operate it. I am doing an Amazon load. See the logo on the back? I'm able to take care of myself, my family, my kids, my loved ones, take trips, all because I never gave up. I didn't say, hey, I'm fresh out of jail. I'm going to just settle for $10 an hour, or I'm not going to work hard, or this is the life that I have now. You don't have to be like that. You don't.
My record is expunged. Even though I got in trouble at the age 16. I got mixed up with some wrong friends. I became really good friends with some wrong people. And it's true what they say, you know, who you surround yourself with, ultimately, you may become. You tend to rub, you know, you guys rub off on each other. And I was doing some wrong things, and I ended up getting a 10-year sentence for some of the stuff that I was doing, and I did 2 years in and 8 years out on paper. After I got out, I was doing parole. I had to show up, drug test. I was still trying to go to college, live my normal life of what I thought I was living since I was out. I ended up having a kid on the way. I immediately went and got my CDL because life was not going to be so much normal anymore. I had to man up. I had to take care of myself, my child, and another person, as well as deal with everything with my record. How people looked at me when they looked at what kind of record it was. I've had to go through so much, and not one time did I ever give up. The famous Nipsey Hussle, and you know, I love bringing it up because people like to think about rappers being negative, but they say some of the most positive things if you just listen. He said the only distinguishing quality between me and anybody else is I never gave up. I never stopped trying. That's the only difference between me and anybody else who's trying this out here, is I never stopped. And I'm not gonna stop. And I'm just here to tell you that if you work hard and don't ever stop, I promise you, sky really is the limit. And you don't need no motivational speech. The only thing you need is that satisfaction from you doing it yourself. I wake up every morning and I look at everything that I've accomplished, and it just makes me want to go so much further. Because I didn't know I was going to be here. So I'm so curious to see where I am in the next 5 years. I'm so curious to see how many more trucks I own then, how many more employees I'll have then. This is an exciting life, and you cannot limit yourself to what everybody else will limit you to. Don't ever stop, don't ever give up. Be different, definitely be different. Don't follow anybody, and don't be like the average person. Be yourself, and everybody's different. How you doing? I'm Deandre Smith. I'm here to
You know, I have to interject here that Deandre's story is not unique. As he said, the only difference that he sees in himself and anybody else is that he never gives up. Where that attitude comes from is from people like Mr. Hines, who worked in that facility, who encouraged those kids, from programs like ours that encourage those kids. It's mentorship. We're talking today about legacy. And that kid is a part of your legacy because you've supported Polite Society Jazz. That gives us a part of his future. It lets us help them. But the biggest problem that we've seen is twofold. One, when a kid enters the juvenile detention center, the juvenile justice system, many times they are not given tools. As Teresa, our president, has said, she's worked as superintendent of Crutchfield Schools. She's worked hand in hand with parents who are trying to help their kids be the best they can be. But a lot of times they just don't have the proper tools from the parents to the kids or from other mentors. So what we're trying to do is catch kids upstream. We don't want to wait until they're incarcerated to start trying to give them encouragement. Does that make sense? Let me see a show of hands if that makes sense to people. Okay, I love y'all. That's why you're here today. It makes perfect sense for us to try to help kids who are in school with teachers and superintendents like Teresa. It makes perfect sense for us to try to help kids who are going to after school programs, to boys and girls clubs and community centers. And it makes sense for us to try to catch them when they've kind of fallen through the cracks and get into the juvenile detention. That's a prison for kids. I hate to even say that, but we're going to move on with the program. Just keep those things in mind as we move forward, and you see what your support has helped us do. Okay. And now, let's see here. Hold on just a second. You can tell I'm pretty low tech. All right. This is why we're all here today. Hang on just a moment. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
That is, we are now going to talk about our Godfather and Godmother honorees. First up is Mr. Harold G. Jones. Harold entered my life when I thought I was already a professional artist. He called me up for a gig. I had been booking gigs for myself for a couple of years, performing and doing all kind of what I thought was good things. Harold called me for a gig. He needed a bass player, and I followed in the footsteps of several great bass players like Dave Copenhagen, Johan Kimbrough. So I'm thinking that I'm really there, right? I've accomplished it. I'm there. But the day that we were setting up for that gig, Harold has this thing where he covers up his drums with a blanket. And he says, and I'm looking at him kind of funny when he did that, but he said, what this is when you come in to do the show and you take that off, that's part of the magic, right? So I had learned everything in the books. I had learned everything about showing up on time, but I didn't know about the magic. And that's what we learned from Big Papa, Harold Jones. I want to have someone that Harold has also entered their life, and we're a part of his legacy. I'm a part of that legacy in music. Here's someone who's a part of that legacy in another way.
Harold, Big Papa Jones. Harold Jones believes in service. He has served Quail United Methodist Church as the men's president, the men's choir arranger, and director. And he and his late wife, Charlene, served many years as the family ministry chairman and co-chairman. He served as the PPR committee chairman and taught drum lessons to the children of the church. He has participated in volunteers and missions projects in South Africa and New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. He is a proud Alpha Phi Alpha man, Beta Eta Lambda chapter. In the Oklahoma City community, he has served as the founding president of the P-Light Society Jazz Inc. He worked with other nonprofit organizations such as Black Liberated Arts Center and NTU Art. He was chairman of the Charlie Christian Jazz Festival. He was honored with the first Deep Deuce Award in 1991 and the Charlie Christian Jazz Music Award in 2019. Harold is also proud to be an inductee into the 2020 Oklahoma Blues Hall of Fame. His producer credits also include a documentary of the CCJF called The Lady, making of the Charlie Christian Jazz Festival. And Harold is also a founding member of the Oklahoma African American Family Film Festival, which is associated with the Oklahoma History Center in Oklahoma City. Harold Gene Jones was born in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and was raised in Portsmouth, Virginia. He became fascinated with drumming and singing in the 4th grade. In the 5th grade, after seeing Gene Krupa play drums on television, Harold changed the spelling of his middle name from Jean to Gene without his parents' knowledge. He attended Norfolk State University on a drumming scholarship, but realized that he was not college ready. After only one semester, he joined the United States Air Force. When enlisting in the Air Force, Harold remembered how much his father, Johnny J. Jones, had influenced him through his occupation in commercial refrigeration. His father seemed really to like his job and was proud of his job, so that's what Harold chose to do as a backup in his life. After tech school, Airman Jones was stationed in Clinton Sherman Air Force Base in western Oklahoma, where he and several civilian musicians founded the Mark IV Band. He was discharged from the Air Force with an honorable discharge after 5 years. He served in the Civil Engineering Squadron in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration, and played music on the weekends. Harold did road work with Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, and with Tulsa, Oklahoma's own Mr. Ernie Fears Senior Orchestra. Later, Harold teamed up with the Jays Band, who became the 3rd Avenue Blues Band. With Harold as lead singer, they signed with Universal Records. Their first 45 recording, It's Got to Be Love, made the national chart. They performed in Las Vegas, Hollywood, Lake Tahoe, Chicago, Hawaii, as well as Tulsa and Oklahoma City. Along the way, he was introduced to his late wife, Charlene Rebecca Jones, and they were married for 53 years. They raised 4 children, Wade, Vonda, Travis, and Harold. Harold and Charlene have 8 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren. And this is really just the beginning of his story. Most of us know Harold as the band leader for the Bottom Line Transaction Band, which he founded in 1981. They performed together for over 30 years and produced more than a dozen recordings. He kept several local musicians working for many years. But after his road work in music was over, Harold returned to college and earned a Bachelor of Science degree and Master's degree in adult education from the University of Central Oklahoma, as well as an Associate in Engineering Technology degree from Oklahoma State University. He became a certified teacher and school administrator in the Oklahoma Career Technology System. Harold taught at Metro Technology Center for over 18 years. He retired from the Oklahoma University Medical Center after 16 years and led a refrigeration technician and engineering facilities department. Harold was the first and only African-American HVAC teacher with a full-time program in the state of Oklahoma at that time. While teaching, Harold's students won first place in the district U.S. Skills Contest 17 years out of 18 years of competing. His students competed in the state U.S. Skills Contest every year he taught and competed at national U.S. Skills Contest 3 times, representing the entire state of Oklahoma. Many of his graduates are now state HVAC contractors having their own business. Keith Bruner is one of those students and will share his story about Harold. It gives us great pleasure to present the 2021 Psja Godfathers Award to Mr. Harold G. Jones. Congratulations, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Jones was only a great instructor, but he also was a teacher of life skills. And I'm forever in debt to this man. And I'm just thankful to God that I was able to be one of his students. And he's touched plenty of lives. And we thank you, Mr. Jones.
Congratulations again and continued blessings.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Thank you.
This is like a dream. Brother Bruner and the beautiful young lady that read the bio. God gave me that bio. To be able to go into the classroom 5 days a week and sometimes on the weekend, we would take on projects because I wanted the students who later just became participants. I wanted them all to become self-sufficient in this life, to become licensed, accredited craftsmen, tradesmen, something that they own, the knowledge that they own, and to do with what they would see benefit not only just themselves, but also society. And Keith Bruner, I remember him dearly. One of the students that my assistant and I, Mr. George Greer, saw Keith come in as a young man, and you can watch people, especially when they're in the shop. We call it the lab or either the shop. and take on assignments. Their attitudes toward the seriousness of completion, and completion at a high level, not just to get the job done, but we used to, and I still believe it, that the fun is not in the minimum, the fun is in the extra that you do in life, and in any project or that you decide to take up. And I was so blessed to teach at Metro Technology Center, Sooner Trade School, and Canadian Valley, to teach air conditioning refrigeration, because I knew that within that trade, school system called it the STEM programs now, but we were doing STEM back before they gave it a name, teaching physics and math. That's what refrigeration, air conditioning, refrigeration is all about. Refrigeration is about math and technology, and it also requires people skills. So, like I said, it seemed like a dream sitting here now. I'm getting kind of carried away here, but Phil Mitchell, when I first met Phil, he talks about the first gig, but I remember meeting Phil, and he was working with some friends of mine, the Burton Band, and I knew that Phil was, not only was he talented as a musician on stage, but he was kind of like, you know, God's gifts are like a vehicle. You ought to take that vehicle and go places with it. And that's why when I was approached by Phil at the beginning of this organization, and what the goals were and the goals are being carried out. So I just want to tell you, Brother Mitchell, and the rest of the staff at the committee, I'm honored to be just mentioned among you all and in your presence. And God bless us all. Carry on, please, carry on.
Harold, thank you. Can we all give Harold a big hand? That is Big Papa. That is Big Papa.
God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. What you will see in his bio is a number of firsts. First this, first that, you know, and as he said, he gives all the glory to God. It's not something that was intentional. It was the purpose. We have to follow that lead. We have to follow that lead. Keith, are you still on the line? Did you want to have something to say? I watch Keith and Stephanie on Facebook a lot. I didn't know until we met on Facebook that we were actually cousins. He's related to my people from Ada, but I've watched them have a life together, with him being self-employed from a trade that he learned from Harold. And I see their family growing. I see their little guy, Kingston, and it gives me joy to watch Keith father this young man and take him into what his full purpose will be as a young king. Keith, are you there? Are you muted, Keith? Okay, that's your obligatory 15 seconds. So we're gonna move forward. Hang on just a second.
I'm here.
Are you there? I think I hear something happening on your end, Keith.
I'm gonna take like you. But I hear you. There we go.
I agree.
Okay, you're breaking up just a little bit. Okay, well, I tell you what, we're gonna move.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we couldn't hear you very well.
Appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. All right, we're gonna move forward with the program to our next honoree for the Godmothers Award 2021. And, you know, these honorees wouldn't be on our program if they had not influenced our life in some way. Dr. Belinda Bisco, an incredible young lady. We've learned so much from you. As our governance chair for Polite Society, as just someone in our community that we can look up to. I told you the other day when we were talking, I said, I know that doors have been closed in your face, but I thank you for all the effort that you have made to continue kicking those doors down with those red bottom shoes. We love you. We certainly love you, and we admire what you do. Every day we are learning, you know, from your example. And what we want you to understand is that we are part of your living legacy in action. Everything that you see us do, it is because of you. All of those firsts that you have been through, it is because of you that we don't give up.
Amen.
We keep pushing forward. You are the example for us to live by. You are what creates us, and all of the thousands of young students, people who are now parents and having their own families. It's all from you guys. So we appreciate that. I have a little surprise. I'm hoping that they will be on the line here in just a second. So y'all bear with me just a minute, okay? I'll be right. Bear with me just a second. We have a surprise for you. Y'all can sing a song if you want to. Hang on, I'll be back. Okay, I appreciate your patience. Thank you. I want to do one thing before we're going to come back, Dr. Bisco, because we're waiting on a guest that I think you will enjoy, okay? I want to show you something that we did previously with a couple of our teaching artists at the Juvenile Detention Center. Y'all bear with me just a sec.
But my freedom means nothing if I don't free anybody else. This is my hope. And if my purpose is waiting on me to be purpose, then I must pursue the call. So let freedom reign while I'm warring against principalities. Let freedom reign while your burdens become my own. Let freedom reign while dark circles form under my eyes and fighting for so long. And I wanted to quit, but I was reminded that liberty's bell won't ring without a fight. And nothing can be accomplished without acknowledging our rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And though happiness is temporary, I know joy looks like pain, but it's actually deposited in a proud family. And the blood is thicker than water. and it won't stop by being just pushed away. Freedom lives by a choice to believe in a better day. That perhaps faith for freedom is as easy as birds know how to navigate through the sky. That perhaps we too can fly away from the winds of our own oppression, accepting a peace that surpasses our own understanding. As God would intend it, though I may be locked up, I am still free. Though I may be locked up, I am still free. That perhaps the warring thoughts that try to take residence in my mind can't be dismantled by tear gas. And my hope won't be put behind bars because no one can block my pen. So I write unrestrained from my writer's block, sentencing myself to a lifetime of sacrifice, realizing that true freedom will come through death. For my body awaits for the 11th hour as I sit midnight in a cell that hopes to cage my dreams with my heart's reality. But I will hold on. I will hold on for a better tomorrow. But my tomorrow was never promised.
I will hold on to press on toward the mark to win the prize for which God has called me.
I will hold on to the promises I was told.
I will hold on
and keep moving forward until the words I speak resonate so deeply in your soul that it shakes, breaking the chains of oppression off of your spirit, quaking the bars of your mind, causing you to wake up and hold on. Hey, that was but my freedom means nothing if I don't free anybody else.
Once again, that was two of our teaching artists. That was Deanne Brody Mendez and Ryan Whitby. Again, when we started doing our programs at the Juvenile Detention Center, we just said that we had to do it. We didn't have a budget for it. We didn't have the money. Nobody was paying us for this. But we had to do it because we found out that there were all of these kids at that facility who just needed encouragement. A couple of times when we were doing presentations, every time you do one, there's something that stands out. But there's one young man who, after being incarcerated for something petty, many times those kids are in jail because they just can't afford fees. But after finding out about that process, the judicial process, he decided that he wanted to be involved in the judicial process himself. He wanted to study that and learn that. Reggie has been working with some students right now at Douglas who are involved in law courses and learning about the law. Reggie, do you want to tell them a little bit about that? You may be muted.
Yes, at Douglas High School, Douglas is called the Law Academy. And so what we have been doing, I belong to another organization called the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice. And so what we have been doing with those students is introducing those students to people that are actually working in the criminal justice field so they can get real life experiences and real life stories about being a part of working in the criminal justice field. And so what we hope to do with those students is to steer them or help them go to college so they can be attorneys, judges, politicians. We want them, and not only are we giving them experience with people that are working in the field, we also giving them experiences with people who have been incarcerated. And so that has been a tremendous tremendous project in working with those young people. And we have been able to get some of those young people enrolled in school at Langston, OCU. And so that has been some gratification in doing that. And one of the things we hope in working with these young people is that they can go back and share their experiences with the other students and also with their family members. And I know most of you are aware that Oklahoma has the highest incarceration rate, or second highest is what I heard yesterday, not only in the United States, but in the world. We rank number 1 in incarceration of females. And a lot of those individuals that are incarcerated, as Philip has just said, they've just made some minor or petty mistakes. A lot of them don't have knowledge of how the system works to get out of the system. And once they get in the system, it becomes a revolving door. And so it was really good to hear that young man who had been a part of the system but got out of the system, and he is a success story. And there are a lot of other individuals that we can work with. And as I had talked to Philip one time, is there's some type of correlation between education and in the system. You have very few people in the system that have college degrees or have some type of skills. A lot of the people in the system are people that the education system has failed. And I'm not talking about the teachers in general, I'm talking about the whole system. And so hopefully we can, you know, with this group, with P-Light Jazz Society and with some other groups, and Dr. Bisco probably doesn't remember me, but I remember many, many years ago of her working on a program for females incarcerated. She did some research on the amount of females that we had incarcerated in the state of Oklahoma, and that the things that she put in that research project is so true, and it's still going on today. And that was some years ago that she put that research paper together. And so Dr. Bisco has really been on the front line in many, many things going on in our community.
Awesome.
All righty.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for those comments, Mr. Reggie. And while we're here, we do have some special guests on our line. And I believe that we are all set up and ready. So the honoree for our 2021 Godmothers Award is Dr. Belinda P. Bisco. And here to present the award to Dr. Belinda Bisco is our Senator Anastasia Pittman and our State Representative AJ Pittman.
Hello, everyone. First of all, let me say thank you so much for having us. Like she said, I am State Representative AJ Pittman, and I am honored to share this opportunity with my mother, former Senator Anastasia Pittman. We are just honored to be here with you today. The Godmothers Award is so important to our community, and shedding a light on the work that Dr. Belinda Bisco has done is so important, right? She has been in our community for many years. She has over 30 years of service in education to her community and to young people. Over 30 years, she has been dedicating her life to uplifting, upbuilding, mentoring, and empowering the voices of young people. And so I am just so excited to be here to share this moment.
And I too am excited. Dr. Belinda Bisco is my friend and my mentor. And I don't know about you, but Dr. Belinda Bisco has been all over the United States, uplifting people in evidence-based programs and educational programs. And she has served in the United Nations. It's not very many people from Oklahoma that you can say is international, but Dr. Belinda Bisco currently serves as the Senior Associate Vice President for Outreach at the University of Oklahoma. She is a trained psychologist, and she has, like you said, over 30 years of experience in community-based programs, but she has 26 departments that she leads. And so for some of you who may not know, she is the co-founder of Eagle Ridge Institute, and she is the founder of Positive Tomorrows. So if you know anything about children who are homeless, those children are graduating from high school and graduating from college. And so I've had the honor and pleasure of working with her here in Oklahoma City at the state capitol with a group of educators from kindergarten to college. And so I am so honored to be with you today to share with State Representative AJ Pittman in delivering and presenting this award to Dr. Belinda Bisco. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations on receiving the 2021 Godmothers Award, Dr. Belinda Bisco. Thank you so much for having us.
All righty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we'd like to have Ms. Bisco, if you have any words, we'd love to hear those words.
Well, my heart is just full. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I want to begin my remarks with a plethora of thank yous. First, I want to thank Senator Anastasia Pittman and Representative A.J. Pittman for that heartfelt introduction. You know, whenever I hear introductions like that, I am compelled to say sometimes, will the real Belinda Bisco please stand up? I mean, it's just a bit much. Senator Pittman served so ably in the Oklahoma House of Representatives and then as a senator. She now has an amazing daughter, AJ, who is following in her footsteps, having been elected in 2019 to serve in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. I'm so proud of AJ. Honestly, your words touched my heart, my mind, and my soul. But it also gave me a moment of pause as I reflect on my decades of living in Oklahoma. As most of you know, I was birthed from the red clay of Georgia, from a family where education mattered and young people mattered. That is one reason, one of the main reasons for me joining the Polite Society Jazz Board simply fits with my DNA. So other thanks are in order right now. I want to thank the CEO, president, and founder of the Polite Society Jazz organization, Philip Mitchell, for asking me to be a part of this amazing organization. I remember meeting him many years ago when he requested a meeting with me and a few other administrators at the University of Oklahoma to discuss a partnership with the organization he recently retired from, the Boy Scouts of America. But you know, Philip, what stands out in my mind was the other conversation we had, which was focused on his dream. And that dream was to create an organization that utilizes the performing arts as a catalyst to provide career-focused arts and technology education programs to at-risk students. Philip himself being a jazz musician, a true Renaissance man. And now we find ourselves 5 or 6 years later, and this organization that we affectionately refer to as the Polite Society was birthed. However, this organization also does something equally important. It brings awareness and eliminates barriers and obstacles that often present at-risk and disadvantaged students from reaching their full potential. And this, of course, is a mission that I strongly support. Now, there are a few other thank yous. I also want to thank our board president, Teresa. If you and Philip would raise your hand so people can know who you are. She is a longtime educator and retired school superintendent who is really guiding our organization with experience, wisdom, and a passion for helping secure the future of young people, especially those most at risk of falling through the cracks. I think as you hear my thank yous, you hear some common themes there: children, youth, education, potential, and many more. So Philip, Teresa, board members, staff, and teaching artists, thank you for honoring me this morning with the Polite Society's highest award. The Godmother Award, as you describe that person, the recipient is someone who shows an extraordinary effort, not only in caring for their own kids, but in helping others as well. So for me, whether starting a school for homeless children and their families, or starting a residential treatment program for addicted women and their children, or initiating literacy programs for illiterate parents, my work over the years with youth, families, and the community has never been a job. It's never been a career. It is truly my passion. So that brings me to a few other thank yous. I have numerous family members from around the country at today's award ceremony. My daughters, Dr. Ashley Bisco Bendick and her husband, Gene Bendick. She had some things related to her practice and couldn't be here, but I want to give a shout out to her. My daughter, who is on the line, Dr. Brandy Bisco Kenner, and her fiance, Udon Robinson, and my niece, Dr. Allison Rao, whose commitments also prevented her from being here. But there are some who are even a little more important to me, and those are the little ones who constantly have me belting out laughs, and that is my smart, my wonderful, and my adorable grandkids who are in Atlanta. And I don't just say these things about them because they are my grandkids, but because all these things are really true. And that's Imani, Amina, and Kaden, Brandy's children, who are joining me at this amazing event today. So if they would click their button or show their heart so people can see my amazing grandkids. But I also have a host of cousins and other family members with me from around the country who are joining me. And if they would click on their hearts or their thumbs up so that people can see who my family members are around the country who are joining me today. I want them to know, and I'm going to click on my reaction button, my heart. I want them to know how much I love and respect them because they truly are all leaving their marks in the sand of time. In addition to that, I want to say, and this is the red clay of Georgia that I'm birthed from, all of my family members are educators or engaged in service, health, and other helping professions. So I want to just give a big thank you to them for what they do or have done to support young people and to make the world a better place for all of us. And now, I said a bunch of thank yous, so you're just going to have to bear with me. I have a number of friends and colleagues who are here to share this honor with me. And I especially want to say thank you for working with me. I think I saw my past boss on here, Dr. James Pappas, but I have a number of friends and colleagues here who have worked with me arm in arm and side by side to accomplish all that we do. None of us do this work alone. Former Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman in the U.S. Supreme Court, once said, we don't accomplish anything in this world alone. And whatever happens in the world is the result of the whole tapestry of one's life and all the weavings of individual threads from one to another that creates something. And so I want my friends and colleagues in the audience joining me to hit your reaction button with a thumbs up or a heart if you choose. And I want to hit my reaction button to let each of you know how much I appreciate you, because all of you have been a part of my personal and professional journey at varying points along the way. You know, without family in Oklahoma, you have all been anchors for me. So I want to say thank you for always being in my corner and helping me not drift out to sea, because it totally could have happened. Again, I want to thank the entire P-Light organization for recognizing my commitment to leverage my talents, knowledge, skills to to connect town and gown as a primary strategy to reach the community and so many at-risk children and youth who need a quality education and opportunities to find their path. For me, this means connecting higher education to the community and common education. And this really hit home to me when they've heard you mention that I founded Positive Tomorrows, a transitional school for homeless kids and their families in 1989. And the principal there recently shared a story that I will just quickly mention because I think it fits with the theme of today. And she said a young man came by the school recently and had just graduated from college, but he wanted to share his story of hope to the young children who are now attending that school. The essence of what he said to the students was that he never knew that there were possibilities for his life until he reached Positive Tomorrows, when he attended there and his family received all the supportive services they needed to break the shackles of poverty and homelessness. He said, I never thought I would finish high school, let alone college, and my goal now is to pay this forward. Another person joining me today in my family, I said I had some thank yous, is my husband, Bill Bonai, who is my Rock of Gibraltar. Bill is a retired Marine officer, a Vietnam vet, and a higher education administrator himself. He helps to keep me grounded and constantly reminds me, Belinda, do not sweat the small stuff. And when I am my most stressed about work, he puts a calm hand on my shoulder and says, Belinda, nobody died. It is a jolting reality check, which I appreciate. Bill, thank you for being there and reminding me to smell the roses. And that's from my heart to yours. And Bill, if you want to touch your heart or give a thumbs up, I want you to know how much you are loved and appreciated and respected by me. And as I bring these remarks, I know I've said way too much, but I don't know when I'll get another opportunity to say some of these things. Until I take my last breath, I will continue to dedicate my life and pay forward to others, in particular youth who simply need people believing in their potential and opening doors of opportunity. The gifts that I have been given, a caring family, an amazing education, opportunities to visit 48 of 50 states, and opportunities to travel the globe from Egypt to South Korea, Eastern and Western Europe, and too many countries to cite. The knowledge that I have gained, the people that I have met, the lessons that I have learned demand that I spread and share the wealth with others. Since we all share this planet together, when we pay forward, we all benefit, not just a few. I have a surprise for all of you, and this is a huge thank you. My 90-year-old mother from Atlanta is joining us today. Mom, if you would raise your hand so people can see my mom. And I want to send 2 double hearts to her, heart 1, heart 2. It didn't show up. But my mom is not a whiz at Zoom, but she is a whiz at email and Facebook. And let me tell you, she stays in touch with me, her great nieces, and all grandkids, everybody in between. Mom, I love you. As a retired school teacher, she always said that I could accomplish whatever I envisioned for myself through education. And you know what? Of course, she was right. After attending college for 2 years, my mom married, had 3 children, and returned to college when I was 5 years old. This was a daunting task since my father worked and my mom really didn't drive until much later. This was her journey. She would walk me to kindergarten at my elementary school, catch the bus to drop my sister off at my paternal grandparents' home, and take my brother to the nursery school at Spelman College, where she matriculated. By second semester, I dropped out of kindergarten and joined my sister at my grandparents' home. It got to be a little too much, 3 drop-off. Well, in those days, kindergarten was not mandatory, so it was kind of okay that I was a kindergarten dropout. She matriculated at Spelman College, a historically Black college for women in Atlanta, Georgia. I remember at age 8 attending her graduation and the profound impact her achievement had on me. Watching at least 300 African-American women walk down the aisle of Sisters Chapel at Spelman to receive their degrees to the organ sounds of pomp and circumstance left an inescapable memory on my young mind about the impact of higher education on the lives of women like my mom. I believe my love for education and the academy was ignited from that moment forward. In closing, I want to challenge all of us who are here today, because this is what the P-Light Society is all about, regardless of our profession, to advocate for resources to support building a stronger pipeline from common education to higher education. By doing so, we make our great state of Oklahoma and other states that some of my family are from in the country even greater. Our future depends on how well we educate all our children and youth. A quote I found without attribution says it all: to be all that is possible, we must attempt the impossible. To be all that we can, we must dream of being more. Let's make our dreams for youth a reality. The Polite Society Jazz organization is helping us realize this dream for our children and youth. Aristotle once said, education is the best provision for old age. As I get nearer to retirement, I have no doubts that my Social Security depends on educating all of our children well, right? Otherwise, it will not be there. So we want to educate them, even if it's for selfish motives. I want to leave you with these words from Marian Wright Edelman, who we know is the founder of the Children's Defense Fund. First of all, I want to say education is the gift that keeps on giving. It's like the Energizer battery. But Marian Wright Edelman said once, education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving our community and world better than you found it. I know this to be true. From my heart to all of you, thank you again for this significant honor and recognition. I accept it with humility and pride. Thank you.
Wow, Dr. Bisco. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. And that is very difficult for me because there's always something to say about these kids. But thank you so very much. Our godfather, Harold Jones, thank you so much. We are surrounded with greatness. I mentioned a minute ago, Dr. Biscoe, that I know that you and Senator Pittman and Representative Pittman and Senator Johnson, who's on the call, I know that y'all have encountered times when those doors were shut in your face. I know that y'all have encountered times when you had to press forward and say, I'm going to do it anyway. And we all thank you, everybody on this call and everybody that we've encountered it with our programs and our activities. We all thank you for continuing to kick those doors down with those red bottom shoes. We thank you. We thank you. Senator Pittman, my introduction to you was through the Edmond Rotary. Edmond Rotary, somebody
They had to step out. They had to step out.
Oh,
but I will send them this memo.
Okay, okay. Well, I will pass this on. My introduction to Senator Pittman was this. They introduced her and said, we want to hear what it's like. We have here our guest today, Senator Anastasia Pittman. She's going to talk to us about what it's like to be a Black female in the Oklahoma Senate. And Senator Pittman, I could see this little look. It was a disguised, but she stepped to the stage. She adjusted her pearls. She pulled up her notes and immediately began to tell them about how legislation makes a big difference in how disenfranchised communities have health disparities. People who don't know how to prepare food properly, who eat junk food because of budgets, end up in emergency rooms because of not having consistent care. Those things are related to legislation. And to change that, it takes the vote. So what I want to say here, in the fact that we are surrounded by people who push, we have been mentored by people who push. There's a fine line between arts and advocacy, and we walk that line daily because we have to push. We have to make relationships that allow us to have people in office who will help us move things forward. I want to share something with you real quick, and it's about the numbers, okay? Bear with me just a second. We want to talk about the economic impact of the arts in Oklahoma and really across the nation. If you'll see right here, in 2019, can you see my screen? In 2019, the arts generated $878 billion worth of revenue for this country. $4.4 billion of that was from Oklahoma. The number of jobs, I believe we created in Oklahoma alone, we created somewhere along the line of 52,000 jobs that are related to the arts field. And when we talk about the arts, we're talking about not only the people who stand on stage and quote Shakespeare, we're talking about all the support factors behind those people. We're talking about the culinary arts, who people, caterers who feed them. We're talking about fashion design, people who put clothes on them. We're talking about people who build those facilities, construction. So there are jobs that are related to this. What I want everybody to understand is that our kids, and I don't mean our Black kids, I don't mean our white kids, I don't mean our Native American kids, I don't mean our Hispanic kids, I mean all of our kids are missing out on that because they're not getting that information at school anymore. Right? I came from a school in Being, Oklahoma, where we had an opportunity to study cosmetology, we had construction trades, we had auto mechanics. All of those skills were given to kids in school. We don't get that anymore, right? The arts, we don't get that anymore. So when you talk to a kid, wherever they might be, and they have skills and it's their passion, we find it necessary to help encourage them to follow that passion and to learn about it fully, right? So that's, again, what our purpose is. Again, so we're going to move on to our next part of the program. But Dr. Biscoe, I want you to know that this is all a part of your living action legacy. We will not rest. We will not rest. This is what we do. And I'm thankful for my wife, Beverly, who does like your husband does and says, okay, it'll be all right. It's gonna be fine. Calm down. So let's go to the next part of our program. Kevin Hill, are you on the line with us? I have to, make sure that we acknowledge the great people who work with us. We acknowledge our board of directors, our nominating committee, our staff, and our teaching artists who help us with the programs. At this time, I wanted to make a special presentation to one of our staff members, and this is Mr. Gerald Whitney. Gerald, are you still with me on the line? Gerald,
yes,
are you? Thank you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Gerald is our Assistant Director of Compliance for Polite Society Jazz Inc. He has a background in IT and management. He oversees our organizational compliance. He has assisted in developing finance programs for the men's ministry at his church and involves young people in the program delivery and training. He and his wife, Sherry, have 2 children and are dedicated to helping young people set goals and reach their full potential. It gives us great pleasure to present the 2021 Psja Outstanding Staff Member Godfathers Award to Mr. Gerald Whitney.
Well, thank you, Philip. First of all, this was very unexpected, and I just have to say that being a part of the organization, going from us having conversations on the way to Ada to go fishing, and we spend 12 hours fishing and talking about this we talked about everything, and then to see you put it all together, give it a name, and then actually ask me to be a part of it was really, really important to me. We've recently been talking about legacy and purpose and things of that nature, and how all this is coming together. It's just phenomenal. I accept this award and I appreciate the award, but like I said, it was definitely unexpected. I feel like part of my purpose is to help you get this off the ground and help you move through this journey. It's just again, the award is unexpected because it's just something that I know that I'm supposed to be doing. So again, I appreciate it. Many of you don't know that Philip is my brother-in-law. We've been knowing each other for about, 35 years? I think me and Sherry's been married for about 27. So Philip and I just hit it off right off the bat. And I tell you, it's just really great to see. And me, Philip would always come up with these ideas. He's talking about these ideas, and I'm that other person who would be like, okay, how are you going to do this? Have you considered this? So I was always that other voice, I guess you could say, to hopefully help Philip put all this together. And I remain that voice because every time we go a little bit outside of what Polite Society Jazz can do at this particular point, I have to say, hey, we have to think about what we can do. But I also too want to say, I just want to be a part of the growing of Polite Society Jazz. I know what the benefits are. I know the conversations we've had. I know the importance. I know the purpose. And I also too know the legacy that you're trying to lead. So again, I accept the award. I appreciate it. And I'm going to be right there by your side all the way. And thanks a lot. To you and Beth.
Thank you, Mr. Whitby. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. It's what I see Gerald doing a lot of times is for our organization, I have vision. I'm an artist, so I'm always thinking in a visionary way. But he brings me back to the point of who's paying for that. That's always his question. You have a beautiful vision. Who's paying for that? Are we paying for that? So and then where are we getting the money? Do we have the money for that? It's a great vision, but just like anything that you have, somebody has to help you with that part of it. And we have a finance chair who kind of sits arm in arm with Gerald on this stuff, and he's always up trying to find ways for us to finance what we do. Earlier in the program, Latia Washington mentioned to you that, and Ty Donato mentioned to you that we have partnerships that allow us to continue movement and momentum even when we're not on stage playing music to try to generate income. Those partnerships allow us to keep the outreach programs going. And Mr. McCain, Greg McCain, is our finance chair. He's going to talk to you a little bit about how you can help us with this. And Greg, you may be muted.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I want to share a little bit of my heart before I go into that. In the Bible, there's the story of the Good Samaritan, about a man who's been beaten and bloodied, and he's left on the side of the road, and people walk by him. And Jesus was saying, you know, we need that. Then this guy who nobody expected to stop and helped him. And that's what being a good neighbor is helping people that need help, regardless of anything that separates you. You know, we can still reach across those things that divide us and help each other. And that's why I'm involved with this, is because these kids need our help. And that's what we're all here about. And that's why I'm involved in this. I'm retired and I don't need Polite Jazz Society, but the kids need us, you know, and that's why we're all here. And so in order to do that, we need money. Anything that you do in this world needs money. And the way to do that is either you can go to the chat box and click the link there, or you can go to the politejazzsociety.org, the website, and donate there. And so are you going to be one of the people that walk by, the people that need help, or are you going to be the person who's going to be the Good Samaritan and stop and help? None of us can do everything, but all of us can do something. So I just ask you to come and help join me in supporting the Polite Jazz Society. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share my heart with you. Back to you, Philip.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate that. I have a quick share. We initially wanted to share all of the pictures and all of the program information with you. There's tons of footage and we just can't get it all to you guys. But we want you to know that this is where you can go if you do want to assist with us in the funding of these efforts. We're also, you know, always looking for people to help as volunteers. We have lots of program opportunities, and volunteering is not always in-person events. We have lots of production stuff that we have to have help with. So you can help in a number of ways. Also, if you do need to get in touch with us, here's our contact information. The easiest way to do it is just to go to the website, psjazz.org, and someone will always respond. One of the things that I want to keep in the forefront of everybody's minds is what Dr. Biscoe just said. And in summation, it is that every kid matters. That is the emotional side of what this organization is all about. If you guys have not seen the movie Soul, you need to see that, because Soul discusses the passion of the individual, right? What is the individual made out of? What gives you passion and what gives you joy in life? What is that thing that you would do for free? Our passion is helping kids. We have a passion for music. And if you remember back many, many years ago, there was an album that came out with Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson. It was called We Are the World. Y'all remember that? It was a group of artists who said, we want to make a contribution. We want to do something. Basically, that is what Polite Society Jazz is. We are a service organization, and we want to make a difference. We see how we can help, and we just jump in and do it. We don't ask for permission to do it. So that's why, you know, again, it takes partnerships with like the county clerk's office and other organizations like that to help fund the programs that we do. But beyond that, That's the emotional side. There's an economic side to what we're doing, okay? And it's very important that we help kids get jobs. In disadvantaged communities, the crime rate goes down when the employment rate goes up. Does that make sense? Let me make sure. I know y'all, it's been an hour and a half. I know everybody's tired, but here's the reality. Crime does not stay in disadvantaged communities. If you don't help us do this, that crime eventually bleeds over into your neighborhood. We don't want our kids getting in trouble in the first place. But when they leave the village and nobody knows them, then they just look like a criminal, right? So nobody's identifying them as Billy Joe or Bobby or Brianne. Nobody's looking at who they really are. They just see somebody who's a threat. And we're losing our kids by not keeping them in an environment where they're supported. So again, we want to make sure that everyone that's involved with Polite Society Jazz gives us your input, tells us how we can help partner with other organizations, how we can help partner with donors. You may know donors that we have no idea. You may know foundations that we have no idea about who are aligned with our goals. And that's where we need your help, okay? So just continue to pray for our kids. I pray for our world every day, because there are things happening now that, as my grandmother used to say, people dying and they never died before. So it's like, okay, it's all of this stuff. There are things happening. You walk into the grocery store and being attacked. Going to work, you're being attacked. So these are once again reasons why we partner. One of our primary goals is to make sure that in every event that we have, every concert that we do, every opportunity that we have, we introduce you to NAMI. Okay, it is very important that our mental health is understood. Right? It's understood that people get angry and things can happen in their mind and they can snap. There's help out there. Reggie can always tell you about help. He's our program, vice president of program. He knows a lot more about NAMI than I do, but as an artist, I think it's only my opportunity and obligation to help pass that word along. And we want to make sure that we continue to do that. You guys can help us with that. Okay. Does anyone have questions or comments before we move to the next phase of closing? Okay, well, Brianna, we're going to put it into your capable hands at this point.
All right. So as we come to a close, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We
Brianna?
appreciate you. Yes?
I haven't.
Is that
Mr. Jones? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I think I can hear you now. I think I just saw.
All righty.
I think I just saw Melvin Jones online, and I hope he's still there. Could we, Melvin? Are you there?
I believe I did see Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, are you muted? Mr. Jones, there you go.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Melvin?
Yeah.
Can he hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know if I can see you. I'm trying to see him. Melvin?
Yes.
The reason that I brought up Melvin's name, and so wonderfully surprised to see him, is that we grew up together in Portsmouth, Virginia, sitting on the back porch many times, sharing dreams, and I don't not turning this into a personal reunion, but I'm just so glad to see him in the fact that Melvin, when I mentioned my father, and learning refrigeration from my dad. And I remember my dad telling me one time, it was on a Saturday morning, we were at a gas station in Norfolk, and the fellow that was cleaning the car window of my father's car leaned in and wiping the windows, and my father said, "You know who that is?" And I said, "No, but Dad, who is he?" He said, "That is the lead singer with the 5 Keys." And I said, 5 Keys, they have a record on the radio. He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, why is he washing the window of the car?" He said, "Son, he's feeding his family." And that stuck with me as far as this music career. God blessed me with music and many other things. But when my dad told me that young man had a second job, he's trying to feed his family. And Melvin, my cousin, and I, we spent many times on the back porch at Douglas Park talking about growing up and going to college. And you talk about going to college, and that's what we did. And I mean, young 12-year-olds and 13, 14-year-olds, Melvin and I. So I was just glad to see that Melvin was on today, and because he is definitely a part of one of those layers of life that has made me the way I am. And I pray to God all the time that I am a disciple, productive disciple to the society and the world that we live in. I love seeing Brother George Cooper too. But I'm saying that thank you so much for the program today, Brother Philip. And we know we need funds and always to continue. An engine cannot run on fumes. So I just wanted to thank everyone, not just for the award, but for the opportunity to be in fertile ground to help young people. I was fortunate to have many adults in my classroom, along with high school students. And I would pair my adults with my high school students, my high school students with my adults. It was great seeing Keith and his wife on earlier. So, Brother Philip, thank you for the opportunity today.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say right now.
Thank you, sir. And Dr. Bisco, of course, again, thank you. We're going to turn it over into Brianna's capable hands.
All righty. Well, do we have any other comments or questions? Anyone else that had any remarks that they wanted to say? All righty. And last year at our 2020 Polite Society Community Awards, we did get the chance to take a group photo, so this may be a little bit harder. However, I would like to take a group photo virtually. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna need to slide the Zoom to where we can see everyone's faces. And we're gonna fake it till we make it here. So can we slide over? Just so that it's recorded. I see some people try to sneak out. We're gonna get whoever we can. So we need a timer over there. Do you see us? Can we see everyone? Okay, so I'm gonna count you down and you can prepare. So 1, 2, 3, big smiles. Awesome. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it is a photo, I pinky promise. Very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, we want to thank all of our guests today. Thank you for taking the time of your Saturday to spend it with us, Flight Society Jazz. We're so excited to have you. And I'm going to pass the mic here, but we are honored to have you all. We thank you, we love you, and we definitely appreciate you. Again, if you'd like to make any contribution, if you want to partner with us, you can go simply to psjazz.org/donate. And that should be a link in your comments if you just want to click the link and go straight there to donate. So we're going to post that here just in a second. And I will pass the mic. Mr. Mitchell.
All right. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, everyone. Before we go, as we exit here, I want to make sure that our president has an opportunity to say any closing words that she might have. Ms. Teresa Wagner.
He's always trying to surprise me with something.
I'm always full of surprises.
I want to say a great job to the team that put this program together. And it is an honor to be a member of this group. I'm so appreciative that Philip allows me to be part of this group so that I can continue to serve my purpose. And so thank you to everyone. And I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. And please continue to support P-Light Society Jazz.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We love you guys. Y'all have a great weekend, and thanks for spending part of it with us. Dr. Biscoe, Mr. Jones, you know we love y'all. Gerald, thank you, sir. You know we love you. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
We love you back.
Love you.
P-Light.
Love you back, brother.
All right.
Happy weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.